If you are a new watcher, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It is free $99, and you will know every time I post a video. Hit the notification bell so you get an alert whenever I drop another bombshell of wisdom. Okay. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I hope you guys have been doing well. As you guys know, yes, we have gotten into medical school, and I'm super excited to really talk about my process and help people who are applying get started on their process as well. So I have a whole bunch of videos coming for you guys, and before I get into those videos, I definitely want to do a general overview video of like what medical school application process is, timelines, things to know, so that way you guys can follow along for the future video. So this is going to kind of be like a all you need to know about applying to medical school kind of glossary type of thing, timeline, process. It's not going to go super in detail because that's what the future videos are going to be talking about, and I'll be doing deep dives of my application as well as some of my friends and some other really good things and exciting things for you guys as well. So let's get into the video. So if you are pre-med or thinking about applying or anything in medicine, you should be familiar with this website, aamc.org. That is going to be your best friend literally for most of your career, TBH. So you want to get familiar with that website because on that website it gives you a whole bunch of resources of like taking the MCAT, how to register for the MCAT, the anatomy of an applicant, all those kind of FAQs, story highlights, all of those kind of things as well. But more specifically, that's where you will also apply to medical school. So the AMC has a branch, I guess, called the AMCAS, American Medical College Application System, I believe, and basically that is where you will submit your application to medical school. So it's kind of like applying to college a little bit, kind of not really. So you know how we have the Common App where basically you put all the schools you want to apply, you fill out one application and send it to all the schools. That's kind of how this is as well. So the AMCAS is your general, we call it your primary application, where you put in all your information and you put all the schools you want to apply to and the kind of degree you want to apply to those schools, and it will send it to those schools for you. So that is just the general knowledge, and there's a timeline for that application cycle. So the AMCAS opens up May 1st. That is the first day you can start putting in information, and this kind of information includes your identifying information such as your name, where you're from, your citizenship, your place of birth, your childhood information, parental information, education, academics, your grades, your extracurricular activities. Literally everything will go into this application. Basically on May 1st you can start filling in all that stuff, putting in your name. If you've already written your personal statement, you already put it in there. If you have finished writing a write-up for all your extracurricular activities, you put it in there as well. You put the names of the schools you want to apply to, and you will also get a good head start on putting in your classes. So something that is very tedious about this application that is not like the Common App is every single college class you've ever taken, whether it be at your institution or community college, anything you got college credit for, you literally have to write out every single grade, the name of every single class, identify the kind of class it was, and it's important because they will determine your GPA from that. They give you a whole month to start filling that out. On May 30th is the first day you can actually click submit and get it sent. So when you click submit, it does not go to the schools initially. It will go to the AMCAS, and they're going to verify your application, which means they're going to look through your application, see every single class you ever took, see the grade you put, and they're going to match it with your official transcript. So literally going one by one to see, okay, did this person get the grade that they said they get? And that verification process can take anywhere from 1 day to 6 weeks. It really depends, and that's why it's so important to apply early, and I'll talk more about that in future videos. But basically May 30th is the first day you can submit, so your application gets verified. The earlier you submit, the sooner your application gets verified, right? My friend submitted literally on May 30th and she got verified a day later. You guys, I submitted like 5 days after her, and it took 2 weeks for my application to get verified. So it's really important to apply early, and it's important to recognize that when you click submit, it's not going to the schools initially. So from May 30th up until I think October October, the AMCAS is verifying applications. And on the last Friday of June is when they will start sending out only verified applications to the schools. So once your application has been verified, it is now ready to get sent off to the school. Starting the last Friday of June, they'll start sending it off to schools, and schools will start to get in the primary applications. Now, after schools receive primary applications, what happens next is they will determine if they want to give you a secondary application. So it's kind of like supplemental questions on your Common App, but a bit more tedious, right? Each school's secondary application is very, very different. Some are very similar, some they don't have really a secondary application at all. And after receiving your primary, they'll decide if they want to give you a secondary, and then they'll automatically send you the secondary. So you will complete the secondary application, and the secondary application can ask you anything from literally all the same information that your primary application asked you. Like, I had a couple schools where they literally asked me to relist all my pre-med classes and the grades I got and everything, and I'm like, I just did this on the primary. What? But they'll ask for that. They'll have, of course, additional essay questions for you, right? The primary application only asks for your personal statement, and it only asks for your extracurricular activities. So schools that want to get to know you more in their secondary application, they'll ask you additional questions. And some popular questions are, why our school? How will you contribute to the diversity of our class, X, Y, and Z, those kind of questions, as you guys know. So schools will start sending secondaries anywhere from that last Friday of June up until, I think, October, I believe, because I think October is the deadline to submit your application, like your primary application. You should not be waiting until October to submit your primary or your secondary application, but to each their own. So schools will start sending secondaries, and it really depends on the school. On that same Friday that the AMCAS sent off my application, I got in secondaries that day. Some schools took longer. Some schools decided to release them later in July, some schools in August, some schools in September. We won't name drop, but yes. So it really, really depends. And after you get your secondary application, technically speaking, you have 2 weeks to return the application back to them. So basically, you can take, there is a deadline. It's an unspoken rule, and well, not unspoken, because some schools will say, get it to them within 2 weeks. Some schools will only give you 21 days. Say, like, if you don't get it in within the 21 days, you can't submit the secondary application anymore. But it's a really good practice to get it within 2 weeks, because one, that shows that you're interested in the school, and two, they're getting tons of applications. So like, you really want to get your application in as soon as possible. Granted, schools will say that there is no particular order in which they read applications. I think there is, but we don't know. So you want to send your secondary application within 2 weeks of getting it. Medical school is on a rolling basis. So that means as the applications come, as the interviews happen, they accept people. They don't wait until like March something to release all the decisions. They release as they go. So from my experience, interview invitations start in July. So basically, after school has received your primary and your secondary, if they really like you, if they're vibing with you, if they're like, you know what, we can really see this person at our school, they will invite you for an interview. And getting invited for an interview is a huge accomplishment. It means out of thousands of applications, they saw something in your application and they want to meet you in person, right? Like, schools can get like up to 10,000 applications and only invite 700 people for interviews. And that already is like, to make it to the interview stage is a pretty big deal. So the next step is interview invitations, and schools, depending on the school, will start sending interview invitations in July, and they'll keep going up until, I think the interview season ends around February, March. So they'll keep sending interview invitations as they see fit, as they see fit. And that's again why it's so important to apply early, because you want to get your application in there and you want to get invited for an interview early. Typically, I say if you're getting interview invites in July, August, you are in a really good position, because that means you are really liked by the schools. You will find out sooner whether you get in or not, and it's just good to know that you're competitive. That's when interview invitations happen. Actual interviews, I believe, start in August, and they start from August and end in March. It really depends on the school and how long the school wants to interview for, but that is typically interview season. And as you can see, that's a long period of time. As schools get primary and secondary applications, they are allowed to reject people, but they are not, as of this cycle, well, for this cycle, schools were not allowed to accept people until October 15th. There was a medical school who broke the rules. I'm not gonna name drop, but there was a medical school who broke the rules. But technically speaking, medical schools were not allowed to say you got accepted until October 15th. So before October 15th, they can reject you, which some schools, no hesitation to send me rejection letters, but they cannot accept you. So October 15th and after is when acceptances will start rolling in, and that's when people will start to find out whether they got into the schools they interviewed at or not, which is why I come back to saying it is so important to interview early, because if you interview in August, September, you're probably going to hear back within October, as opposed to if you interview after, it may take longer to hear back. That's pretty much the process. And I think on April 30th, you have to like declare to the AMC or your AMCAS application, these are the 3 acceptances that I want to hold on to. So throughout the application process, as you get acceptances, you can hold your acceptances. Some schools require you just to click I accept this offer. Other schools require you to pay a deposit. Like for some schools, I had to pay $100 deposit to hold my acceptance, and other schools I was just like, yeah, hold it. So it really depends on the school, but as you get acceptances, you want to make sure you accept the offer and hold on to it, because like I said, medical schools are rolling admission, and if they don't hear back from you that you accept the offer, they're going to give that spot to somebody else. Like, there's people hustling to get into medical school, you know what I'm saying? And there's always going to be someone who will be willing to take your spot. So it's really important to accept the offers when you get accepted. But by April 30th, you have to hone in your acceptances to 3. So if you got into more than 3 schools, you need to decide, okay, what are my top 3 schools I'm deciding between? When you have your top 3, that will release all your other acceptances, which opens up space for other people who are waitlisted to get accepted, which is why it's so important. If you know you're not going to go to school from the bottom of your heart, release the acceptance sooner rather than later, because there is someone else who wants that spot even though you know you're not going to go. So by April 30th, you have to bring it down to 3 different schools, and you have to say these are the 3 schools I am deciding between. So by April 30th, you will have the plan to enroll and commit to enroll option. And me myself, I'm still trying to figure out what they mean, because I am also still in the process, but my belief is commit to enroll means you have made the final decision on the school you're going to, and you've withdrawn your acceptances from all other schools. However, I think the plan to enroll is a bit less dire. It just says, I'm still, thinking about this school, and I'm thinking I'm gonna go here. So that was just a little like kind of broad overview of the med school application timeline and process, so you guys have a little bit of an understanding. As I get into deeper detail in my other videos, you guys will understand a lot more, and I can't wait to share with you guys some of the exciting things I have to say. And you guys know I am all about transparency, and I'm the kind of person that if my story can help someone else, why wouldn't I share? So eventually I will be sharing kind of my story, my journey to medical school. Some of you guys have already been following it, but I do anticipate I'll have new subscribers and people who are not really familiar with my journey. So I will be sharing like a all-inclusive, holistic, cumulative video of kind of how I got to where I am today. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up, because it really helps me out a lot. If you have watched this full video and you're still not subscribed, just go ahead and subscribe now. It's not gonna hurt, it doesn't cost nothing, and you will get to learn more about my med school journey. You get to learn about how to be successful in your journey as well. And I will see you guys in another video.